Hi guys. Welcome back to I was going to say welcome back to the channel. Hi. Welcome back to the miniature mic monologue. What's up? How's it going? How are you? I'm trying to get settled, get a good distance. I feel like I don't ever have a good distance. So sorry about all this maneuvering. All right. It was a sunny day and now it's a gloomy day. But here I am with my tiny little mic, and I'm excited to talk to you guys today about this question that I've been pondering. And I don't really know if we're going to answer it in this episode. I really don't think that we are, but I wanted to talk about it because I think it's something that is circulating in many different facets or many different ways, I will say, on the internet. People who are not producing content regularly have become very opinionated about what qualifies as quality content nowadays, which, I mean, to an extent, they are the consumers, so their opinion does have and should have some weight in what kind of content they are taking in. But I think what I'm really trying to get at is that there's been a lot of discourse about like what's actually entertaining, if stuff for certain kinds of content creators are boring. And I've also felt like I just keep seeing the same thing in general on YouTube, on TikTok, just on all the other platforms, on Instagram. It's become very formulaic, the way that content creators have found ways to generate success. And I mean, that's kind of how the world, at least the Western world, works. It's like we're going to find success and we're going to do it. Like brand A is going to do it. And then brand B is going to be like, this is how they did it. We're going to create a copy and paste version of that. And then we're going to do the same thing. And so the question I really want to ask and kind of just ponder and give some of my thoughts on is, have we really lost sight of the true beauty that is in life, in everyday life, by prioritizing romanticizing our lives? There is a part of romanticization that was meant to lift up the beauty that naturally sits in everyday mundane life. But I think the idea of it and the idea of creating content that is, so aesthetic looking, and it's aesthetically edited and it's pleasing to the general eye, and it does what gets people millions and trillions and billions of views and stuff like that. But I think the reason that it got that person millions of views in the first place is because it was something that hadn't been done before. So there's only so long that it can be done repeatedly on different people before it's like, ugh, I'm sick of this. Like, I'm sick of this, right? But I don't know. I feel sad that people are willing to sacrifice who they are in order to get money, because I think that it's what it's about, or to get fame, because we needed that viral moment to see that version of that person, because maybe it had never been seen before. And I've always been transparent about this really in the opening phases of my channel, and I try to continue to do that more as I grow on my own personal YouTube channel, about why I started the channel. The first reason was because it was a direction from God, and the second reason was because I wanted to inspire people to do what they are inspired to do, not to do what I'm doing. And so I've always struggled with the idea of editing in ways that I see girls who are big edit and stuff like that. I stray away from that as much as possible. That doesn't mean I don't take things that I like if I see someone doing it and it is really widely popular, but 9 times out of 10, that kind of content and editing style does not attract me, because I'm like, it's a facade and you're using it to cover up for this desire you have to have this creative engine working in your mind. But instead of taking the time to maybe not post as much, or to sit back and observe and figure things out and figure out what you really like, or figure out why you're really posting, you just do what other people are doing that is noted as creative, or that a certain sect of people like. And I just feel like, as it relates to romanticization, like it's really overdone. And it's sickening to the point of like, I don't want to see what your pretty morning routine looks like. I don't want you to edit it and put all this soft, supple jazz music over it and curate it to where the shot pans at exactly zero point 0.5 seconds per frame. Like, cut that out. Cut that out. That's not really happening. And if that's all life was, I would vomit every day of my life. And if you don't know anything about me, I don't throw up. It's gross. I can only recall 2 times in my life where I've thrown up. One day I threw up multiple times because I had the stomach flu. And the other time I threw up because I don't know why. I was like 9, but I remember that vividly because I felt disgusting. Anyways, the point I'm trying to make is there's never, ever, 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 ever this perfect or ideal or romanticized version of life. You make it up. And so what I don't understand is why so many people would rather make it up and put it on the internet than make that a part of their everyday lives, if that makes sense. Why would you rather romanticize the idea of your life than romanticize your real life? Romanticize the things that are hard. Romanticize the things that are ugly. Romanticize, or better, I should say, sit with, ration with, sit face to face with the things in your life that are not romanticizable. Because when all a content creator does is post something that is romanticizable, I'm like, so you are the avoidant type? Like, are you a pathological liar? I'm trying to figure out what it is that you're doing here, because nobody's life looks like that. I don't know. It's perplexing to me. I don't have an extreme or a very thorough opinion on this topic or this specific question. I don't have a lot of answers besides the ones that are naturally effacing to us as human beings. We don't like to deal with the hard. We don't like to do things that are hard. But my upbringing and the choices that I've made as a young adult to walk in faith with the Lord require that we face, on average, a little bit more affliction than the person who is not walking with Christ. So I have learned to thrive in that. And so I've had to kind of rewire my brain to not expect something to go wrong, because I would just get good at preparing myself for it because it was happening so often. But even in that, and I'm not saying there won't be a time that it will come again, because I'm sure it will, being in that taught me that state of being afflicted, feeling like I'm being attacked, or in a constant state of defense because somebody's always trying to do, say, or make believe something that will offend me or deface my character. I learned that you can have joy and be going through something that is absolutely intolerable. Honestly, like, you can be having a despicable experience in your life and in the lives of those around you and still get up and be happy, get up and take care of yourself, get up and do your routine. And I'm not saying I've gone through things that are extremely terrible. Like, I've been through some stuff just like everybody else, and some stuff is a little like, oh yeah, okay, like that's tough, but it's kind of like life grade tough. And then I've been through some things that are like, oh. Have you seen a therapist about that? The answer is yes. But my point I'm trying to make is that there's no point to over glamorizing your life if you can't deal with the hard. And that concept is talked about a lot in the Bible. Not so much like directly, but I've heard a lot of pastors, Christians, and other people who like make podcasts or all that kind of stuff extend the discourse to kind of be like, there is no value in the good if there isn't bad. Because if it's just good, then we don't know anything else. There is no medium. There is no ugly. There is no in between. There's just good. The same way if there was only bad, we wouldn't know anything else. Everything would be bad, and we would probably think that that was good to us. You know what I'm saying? But my ultimate point in trying to just, stir up this conversation and make us think about why we adorn ourselves to the idea of life instead of actually living it is that if there wasn't a variation in the kind of experiences that we have, we would be dead. Like, there would be no need for life, nor would there be a desire for life. And I'm not saying we sit around waiting for something bad to happen, but when something bad happens or something not good, first of all, if you believe what I believe, that's when you see God show up in ways that you would have never seen him show up had everything just been going so hunky-dory and you didn't need to get down on your knees and cry and pray and be out of your element and comfort zone looking to see his face in this part of your life and in your relationship. How would you know that God is a provider? How would you know that he's a protector? Because there was nothing to protect you from or to provide for you from. And I've been thinking about this a lot recently, just how I've never needed anything in my life, regardless of whether or not I've had more money to spend on things that I would have wanted to spend it on. Which, a side note, I'm just kind of glad that I didn't have that young, because now that I've had so much time without it, I'm like, it really is more about needs and being able to give. And that's just a side note. But what is the point of life if there's not variance, essentially? And so to present this romanticized ideal, it's like, instead of playing house with your little sister or your little cousin or whatever, when you're 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and you pretend to be an adult and take care of responsibilities and do all that thing, we get big and we get old and we post all this content and we create this idea of life and we're playing life. Like, hello? I don't want to play life. I want to live my life. And if I want to live my life, I'm going to have to endure things that I don't like. That's life. But I'm also going to have to endure things that I do like. Surprises that I do like. Surprises that I don't like. Things that teach me about myself in a positive way. Things that teach me about myself in a negative way. Hello? Like, I don't understand that. And I think this makes me think of reading Ephesians. Ephesians is the book of sadness in life if everything is meaningless, right? I think it's Ephesians. Excuse me, I misspoke. It's Ecclesiastes. Anyways, that book is essentially Solomon essentially being like, everything is pointless. It's meaningless. And it is. It is, except for the meaning that we give to life. And I think part of walking with Christ is to give this life meaning for a life beyond this, obviously, and instruct other people that we believe there's a God that said that and there's proof of it, and you should maybe consider that and, start thinking about that. But I think the over romanticization of it all is meaningless, just like every other trend will be to try to procure life in a way that it really isn't, because we're not in charge of anything. We can't force anything to happen. We cannot make anything appear. We are sentient beings, and we feel and sense and can deduce a lot of things from a lot of different situations, but trying to mind-numbingly paint this idea of everything is perfect and the shot is gorgeous and my life is amazing. Like, okay, bruh. No, like, nobody's gonna want to watch that. Nobody really wants to live like that. Let's be honest. There's no sense in living like that. There's no value in life if everything is perfect. And I always consider this just randomly, like, if there wouldn't have been the fall of humanity when sin entered the world, how different my and everybody's perception of life would be, considering that all we would be doing is walking around naked, first of all, unbeknownst to us, in how many ever gardens maybe God decided to build, just eating fruit, probably talking to tigers. Let's be for real. Like, that reality, unfortunately, does not exist for us anymore on this side of heaven. But I always think about what it would be like. And I'm always like, I wonder if people who get to know God or become aware of God and then are like, nah, I don't want to do that. Like, I don't want to, not go out and party or go out and drink, or I don't want to hold and bite my tongue. If they start living this life trying to make it look so picture perfect and perfect-esque, because deep down inside, they have this inclination drawing them back to the idea of an eternity with Christ where there's no pain, no crying, no suffering. Anyways, that's that's a sidebar, a tangent, a derailing thought that I always have. But let's just cut that out with the romanticization. It's just not real life. Like, embrace the beauty in the hard and find the purpose in the pain, because it's not meant to be roses and beautiful and ideal all the time. Like, that sounds so stupid boring to me. It does. And I'm not saying I want hard things to happen to me or bad. Oh, okay, let me rephrase that. I'm not saying I want bad things to happen to me, because nobody wants bad things to happen to them. But if it wasn't, like, I would just be walking around, driving around, moving around, not saying a word about anything all day. Like, that's so pointless. Anyways, that's all I really had for this episode. I just thought it would be interesting to kind of ponder the concept. And obviously, I've been in a questioning mood lately because I've put out 3 questions episodes of back to back to back. But I hope you guys enjoyed this and it made you think a little bit and consider why we try to present ourselves as so, like, picturesque. And I'm not saying it's wrong to have an idea of, like, what you want your life to look like, or it's wrong to post cool Instagram pictures that you think are cute. I'm not saying that at all. I'm saying if that's how you live your life, by the ideas of what it looks like, I pray for you, because it's not a place to be. And I only know because I've been there. I'm just saying, like, I've thought that it would make sense to think that things would be a better way instead of experiencing them for the way that they are. And life just by when you do that crap. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. It was a little bit shorter. Maybe this conversation will expand. If you guys want to engage with it, leave me any comments. But yes, thank you guys so much for coming and listening to my question. Feel free to leave an answer, an open-ended one if you have one, in the comments. And I'll see you guys in the next monologue. Bye.